Let me start talking about the news for a few minutes here. So this was pretty interesting. As you probably know, I think we all know, Elon Musk bought Twitter and then he let back all the alt-right people. So Twitter's now full of Nazi and anti-Semitic and nasty comments, and that scared away all the advertisers because they don't want their content appearing there, and that cuts Twitter's revenue. So it's pretty much going broke, and now he's in huge trouble. He isn't even making enough money to pay the debt they owe. And the banks that invested in Twitter are demanding an explanation. And Linda Yaccarino is his woman in charge of like his new CEO, and she has made a disaster of it. She went to the Code Conference and gave attempted to defend Twitter's position with just blatant lies and anger and not being incompetent, not even knowing what was going on. So it seems to be a total disaster. But now Google is apparently going to run to their rescue. If you can buy Google ads, and Google will then place your ads in other places, and now they're going to place, people will buy ads at Google, and Google's going to place them on Twitter. And they do, this search engine land website warns you, which I hope Google should tell you, is that if they do place your ads on Twitter, you're taking a risk of corrupting your brand because your ad may very well appear next to anti-vaccine, Nazi, anti-Semitic, racist, conspiracy theory content that you probably don't want associated with their brand. So this seems to me like this is likely to harm Google. People that trusted Google to place their ads will be less inclined to trust Google to place their ads if Google puts their ads on a lousy place like Twitter. So we'll see what comes of this. I wouldn't be surprised if there's an outcry and a protest and a boycott, and Google has to change their mind and quit doing this. On my other browser, it would translate this back to English automatically for me. This browser doesn't seem to be doing it, but two things happened in Russia. They're going to ban VPNs in April of next year, and they're also going to force internet service providers to record the geolocation of everybody making internet phone calls or doing anything on the internet. So that's pretty amazingly restrictive, but that's what you expect in Russia. That's going to be, they're going to record exactly who people are and where they are so they can find out who said things, and of course then they'll be able to hunt down who said a thing on social media they don't like and punish you and such. So it's pretty scary. As far as I know, that's not happening here or in any NATO country. That would be pretty awful if it did happen. I know Putin said about 10 years ago that his solution to spam and crime on the internet is to just end internet anonymity. He said everybody should have to authenticate with their real name when they do anything on the internet so we can catch them. And of course, that would probably lower crime. It's just we're not willing to put up with that, I think, in America, at least not yet. Sonatype is a very interesting company that does open source supply chain analysis on the web. And I think this is one of the companies that has like a free version. So, and what they did is they've done research to find out the state of the supply chain. This is the issue growing and growing for the last 2 or 3 years is awareness of the risks of the supply chain. And it's now that they're doing more analysis, they're finding it is really bad. 245,000 malicious packages were discovered in the open source package, and this is the double all previous years combined. So the number of people putting malicious packages is greatly increasing. 1 in 8 open source downloads have a known risk. 19% of open source projects in Java and JavaScript that were maintained in 2022 are now abandoned. This is really bad, and something to realize is not only do developers just leave and abandon projects, which then the vulnerabilities don't get fixed, bad guys will sometimes take over the abandoned projects and add malware to it. And if you write open source software, if you write browser extensions, you will get offered money from criminal gangs who would like to purchase that product from you so they can put malware in it. And I imagine that's happening here as well. So the era when you would just do like an npm get or include a download a Python library from GitHub and just use it, I think is coming to an end. We really shouldn't be casually using third-party software repositories like PyPy and so on. I've been in the habit of using them all along, but the fact is I should be thinking of those as high-risk activities, for example, like WordPress extensions. This has been known forever, that WordPress has all these extensions, and a bunch of those extensions are seriously vulnerable. And so you don't just install a bunch of extensions on your WordPress site, you go to find like the trusted ones and only put on the trusted ones. And we really should be doing that with all the other libraries we use, all these open source products. So it's real important work. And there's a bunch of amazing vulnerabilities. You almost never see CVSS scores this high, 9.9 and 9.8. This is PyTorch Model Server. This is a AI product that's used to distribute models, and it opens a web page, and the flaws are unbelievable. This product is not a niche product. This product is used by Meta, Amazon, and Google, the main players in AI, and it had that kind of vulnerability, remote code execution, 9.8 and 9.9, for incredibly stupid reasons. What they said, let me make sure I'm getting the right one. Yes, there's a management interface that's only supposed to be listening on the loopback address, but it actually listens on 0000. So it exposes your management interface to the whole internet by accident, and there's no password at all on that interface because it was only supposed to be exposed locally. So you can just connect remotely from anywhere, and then you can upload models and run them, and the models can contain malicious code, so there's your remote code execution. This is just appalling. This is like the API securities. Most API flaws consist of some administrative activity not checking your token at all, so you don't have to really be authenticated. And this is essentially the same thing. They just exposed an unauthenticated management interface to the world. So that's pretty awesome. It's sort of horrifying to think that those big companies in their flagship, most important product, AR products, have this level of insecurity, but they do, and there's more. These 4G edge routers are used to secure your Internet of Things devices in your home. You put a gateway in. That's what this product does. And the problem is it's a router you put in your home, but you manage it from the cloud. And what the manufacturer did was to authenticate with the cloud. All you need to know is your MAC address and like an IMEI number that's printed on the router. And it turns out that the MAC address, of course, is not very random at all. There's only 3 bytes that you can predict from the manufacturer and only 3 bytes that vary, so you can just brute force those 3 bytes. And the other number, the IMEI, is sequential. It's not random. So you can just like buy one and then go to the numbers after that. But then even that doesn't matter because they found in the cloud there was something like an unprotected API, so they could just get it to tell them the IMEI numbers of all the customers. They found like a log file they could access that revealed it in the cloud. So this is appalling. Anyway, another fun fact to know. It reminds me of every now and then there are times when a whole category of security comes up. Reminds me when they first found open Amazon S3 buckets, and there were hundreds of them exposing everything. There's a whole new bunch of ridiculous vulnerabilities popping up. And here's another one, Sonar. These are the ones that have a free version of this product. I really think I want to add it to my projects, I think. Let me see if I can somehow get rid of all this garbage on my screen. All right. So what these guys do, they have a Sonar Cloud will scan, I think, your cloud products and find vulnerabilities in your code. That's right, it's static code analysis. It will read your code and find the vulnerabilities in it, and it has a free version. That's why I think this would be a very good project for my classes. But anyway, they ran their product, and they found this thing called OpenRefine. OpenRefine is something people run to clean up data and transform it, which is something you often do when you feed it into something else, in particular AI models. We were just talking about it. It was the chapter, I think, last week in the machine learning course I'm teaching. So it'll take the data, clean it, convert it, and extend it. But they found, and it's very popular, 10,000 stars on GitHub and 1.8 thousand forks. So that's really a lot. That's like one of the most popular things on GitHub. And yet it has god-awful vulnerabilities. What they found was that you could send it a zip file, it would unzip it, and it didn't check the path. So you could overwrite existing files or extract it to unintended locations. This is one of the common vulnerabilities. So you can extract a file somewhere where it turns into executable code, like a cron job or something else. So again, you have remote code execution. And you can execute arbitrary code on the user's machine. and this product is out there, tons of people are using it, so it is another problem. And this, anyway, it's interesting to hear these things. I'm looking up there for comments. Something about VirusTotal. Letting VirusTotal vet websites and downloads. Well, that's good. That's a very good thing people do, and that's what your normal anti-malware products does. That's something. And all right, and the Invoke is not going to be in, all right. And do I have office hours after class? Yeah. If you want to talk to me, I'll be done with the lecture and stuff by 7:30, and then I can answer any questions from anybody. So just come back at 7:30 if you want help on a virtual machine or anything like that. All right, let me stop this news.